All right. So if we're going to draft a quarterback, who's it going to be? Probably not going to be Caleb Williams because I imagine if it's not Chicago drafting Caleb, it's going to be somebody else who's going to be leaping above us up to number one. The thing is, folks, Caleb Williams is going number one regardless, and it's probably not going to be us who's going to be trading up. So who's going to be our quarterback? Let's talk about that in this video. I think you're going to find this interesting. And welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. My name is Greg, and this channel is dedicated to the Washington Commanders. And if you're down with that, please make sure you have subscribed to the channel. And when you do, also make sure that you hit that notification bell so you will never miss another video release. So really, honestly, at number two, if we're going to draft a quarterback, it's likely going to come down to one of two quarterbacks. It's going to come back down to Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels. Now, which one of those two would you rather have? Now, at the beginning of all of this, I started looking at the film, started just kind of researching what other experts have been talking about with both these guys. And, honestly, I was just fine with Drake Maye because, for one thing, I like his size. He's very athletic. He has a pretty decent arm as well. And, overall, yeah, again, he's a UNC guy, so if Ben Johnson it gets hired, it's another guy he's probably used to. And of course, we all know that Sam Howell would be used to him because he played with Drake Maye in UNC. However, certainly I saw a lot of negatives about Drake Maye as well. Some feel like he didn't have as good of a season this year as he did last year. And just overall, they didn't think that he could translate as well. He does make some good NFL plays, but at the same time, he's looked very average. So he's kind of been this up and down type of quarterback. And then I started looking at Jayden Daniels. And Jayden Daniels looks like he's definitely more of a very exciting quarterback, someone who could definitely come in and give you a spark. A lot of people feel like he could possibly be the next Lamar Jackson. He's 6'4" as well, so he's the same size as Drake Maye, and he's around the same weight. And actually, he's maybe 10, 15 pounds lighter than Lamar Jackson, but basically they're about the same size. So really, a lot of people are starting to get on the Daniels bandwagon. He's got an impressive arm, and he's got, of course, very, very fast speed. He can scramble out of anything, and the dude can run. So definitely, he looks like he could be a very exciting player for us. Between the two, honestly, certainly the negatives I've seen on both. I think that is just timing with some throws, especially with Daniels. He seems to kind of struggle with curl throws, with the comeback throws, that sort of thing. He needs to work on this timing with that. But, these are things that an NFL coach can really coach these guys up. You got to get your timing down because it will get ugly. It will definitely get ugly. But I think overall, I think it comes down to how high of a ceiling that both of these guys have. I think some feel that Drake Maye has a higher ceiling. Some feel like Jayden Daniels has a higher ceiling. Honestly, what it comes down to, what I always feel it comes down to, if you're going to really build and develop a young quarterback, it really starts up front in the trenches. So that's where I really have been talking about a lot, is building those trenches up. And if we do draft a quarterback at number two, are we going to be able to adequately build up the trenches and offensive line enough to where it's going to protect your young quarterback? Because he's going to be making some mistakes, and he's not going to be used to how quick that pressure is on him in the NFL. And so you need to be able to protect him as much as possible. That's one reason why that I had mentioned in my last video about Kirk Cousins. I know a lot of people, I got a lot of grief on that. But the thing was, my thought process was, it doesn't matter. You could still draft Drake May or Jayden Daniels or someone like that and bring in Kirk Cousins, or it doesn't have to be Kirk Cousins. It could, maybe it's Jacoby Brissett you're going to retain. Just a good veteran presence who's going to be able to be in there and to maybe start that year and win some football games for you while preparing that younger guy, instead of throwing him into the fire and expecting him to play like a first round player behind an awful offensive line. I think you have to look at both. And I don't think you could just go out and draft one or two players on that offensive line and feel like, it's going to make a world of difference. The only time I feel like that's going to happen is if you draft an all-world left tackle and the greatest center. And the reason why I say center is the center position is so important with calling protections and being able to get all the guys lined up and just being on the same page with the quarterback. And then that left tackle, obviously, protecting that blind side for your quarterback. But overall, if it's up to me, if I'm drafting a quarterback, I think I'm going to go Jayden Daniels. I just think that he's more exciting. I think he has a big play potential, and he's got all the dimensions. He's got the dimensions of being able to run. He's got a good arm. But regardless, I just want a quarterback that's going to be able to play in something else other than just RPOs all the time. Really want a quarterback who's going to be able to load, to be able to line up under center and play from under center if he has to, as well as playing, from the pistol or from the shotgun formation. Someone who could really, develop into that all-around quarterback. That's something we need, and it's probably the reason why it's important for us to really get a good coach who's going to be able to know how to really truly develop quarterbacks. So, but overall, if it's up to me and I'm drafting a quarterback, I'm probably going Jayden Daniels. I'm still looking at a veteran quarterback because I think we're going to need a veteran presence in there, and I don't think you just draft a rookie and then just give him the keys to the kingdom, no matter if it's in the first round or whatever. If you truly wanted to develop him right, you're going to give him every opportunity to succeed. So that's why I say, if you are doing number two quarterback, do number two at quarterback, but you're going to have to really focus on rebuilding the offensive line through the draft, because quite frankly, there's nobody, honestly, to pick up in free agency, especially at left tackle. And we already know that Adam Peters is not going to build the team up through free agency like we have done in the past. He's going to build it up through the draft. And so if you are going to rebuild that offensive line, it's going to come through the draft. And it's likely not going to come, completely this year. It's going to take a couple of years to really get in the guys you need. So overall, that's who I'm going to choose. And you're never going to make anybody, or I should say, you're never going to make everybody happy. I can sit here and say, and I have said, maybe we should try to, build up the offensive line and give Sam Howell another opportunity. People hated that. I'm saying now that maybe we should look at drafting a quarterback. Let's look at Jayden Daniels. People will probably hate that. They'll want Drake May, or they'll be upset that I'm not saying about, possibly moving up to the number one spot to draft Caleb Williams. They'll be upset over that. They were certainly upset over me saying something about bringing Kirk Cousins back. So you're never going to make everybody happy. That's just the nature of it is. But overall, that is what I'm thinking. Jayden Daniels at number 2. Focus on offensive line after that. Folks, that's my thought process. I'll see you in the next one.